If you're here, it's probably because you're looking to quit smoking. Now, I could have made a video talking about how bad things are, but the reality is you probably already have heard or learned about a lot of the dangers that come with smoking. The fact is that smoking can cause a lot of different health issues with things like your lungs, causing things like COPD, things like lung cancer, let alone the smell that it gives off on your clothing and as well as in your car or even in your house. And unfortunately, smoking doesn't affect just you, but it affects those around you with things like secondhand smoke, and especially the little children create a lot of different health issues with that as well. So today what I want to go ahead and do is create a video that focuses on 7 things that you can do to break bad habits such as smoking. So the first thing that you need to do to break a bad habit is make a commitment. So anytime you want to achieve something in life, you have to make a commitment to either yourself, your family, or even something just greater than yourself. So whether it be your spouse, whether it be your children, to God, you have to make a commitment and stick to it. And when you make that commitment, you want to write it down. You don't want to just put it in the air or put it in your mind. You actually want to put it somewhere that you will actually see it every single time. So whether you write it down, post it on your wall, post it on your door, post it in the mirror, find a bracelet that actually reminds you of that commitment that you made to yourself. But you want to make a commitment to those around you, and you want to make sure that it's exposed to you every single day, where it's in front of your face so you know exactly what you're committing to. Tip number 2 when it comes to breaking bad habits is accountability. So great, now you made the commitment. Now what? What's the next step? Now, unfortunately, when you make commitments to yourself, those are easily broken. But when you make commitments to other people, those ones are much more challenging to break. So when you make that commitment, let other people know. Post it on social media, tell a coworker, tell a trusted friend that you've made this commitment. But most importantly, what you want to let them do is ask you follow-up questions. The follow-up is key. It's not about today, it's not about next week, but it's following up with you after a month, 6 months into it, 12 months into it. Letting people check up on you on a regular basis will help you to know that, man, if I stumble upon this temptation or this desire to smoke a cigarette, someone's going to ask you tomorrow or the next day or sometime soon, and that follow-up is key, and it's important to helping you to overcome that temptation, because you know that someone's going to ask you and you don't want to let someone know that you gave into that temptation. So allowing accountability and letting people follow up into your life and actually ask you questions about how you're doing is extremely important. Tip number 3 of getting rid of bad habits is replacing bad habits with good habits. We've all heard that saying that you can't break a bad habit. Instead, what we need to do is actually replace it with a good habit. So in this circumstance, we need to look at what is the reward? What are we getting from this type of habit? Is it a pastime that you're doing with social interaction? Is it the taste that you're going for? Is it the action of just putting something in your mouth? Or is it just a stress reliever? The reward is what we're looking for, so we can see how we can replace that. Some common alternatives that people turn to when trying to break the habit of smoking are things like chewing gum, or even things like simple like eating sunflower seeds or eating a sour or tart candy. That can really be found to be helpful. Even a lot of people go to just drinking a glass of water. That actually seems to help a lot of people as well. But there's even things like social interaction, so just going on for a walk with a friend, or making a phone call and talking to a friend that you haven't heard from in a long time, or even just trying to get your hands to become more busy. So things like picking up hobbies like knitting, things like drawing. There's so many different things that you can do that pretty much the possibilities are endless. The reality is it just comes down to what works for you and what is the reward that you're going for, and trying to find that habit that you can start to develop that's more of a good habit instead of the smoking habit that you're trying to avoid. Now, the next tip to breaking a bad habit is knowing your triggers. Now, oftentimes when people fall into temptation or they fall into this desire or this bad habit, it's oftentimes triggered by something that will create you to stumble. Now, it could be something as simple as getting into your car. It could be a break time, that when the break time actually occurs, it's like the next thing you're going to do is pull out a cigarette. Now, if you can identify and locate what it is that is your trigger, then you can start to be prepared for when that actually occurs. So maybe you can have an alternative that we talked about in terms of a healthier habit. Instead of the bad habit, you can go to that instead. So whether it's getting that candy and putting it in your mouth as soon as you go on break time, or or when you're going into your car, you have sunflower seeds right next to you. So instead of reaching for a cigarette, you can actually reach for those sunflower seeds and start chewing on those things instead. So identifying and locating what your trigger is will actually help you to be prepared for when that temptation or desire occurs. Now, the next tip of breaking a bad habit is going to be changing your surroundings. Now, in terms of your surroundings, a lot of times when we actually tend to fall into temptation or into that desire, like smoking, oftentimes we find ourselves in the same types of areas or same types of places that makes it very easy for us to stumble. So things like a specific break time area that's designated for smokers. A lot of times there's those areas, and then it's just one of those things. You go to that area and you tend to smoke. Or it could be specific friends that you have that are smokers as well. So oftentimes it could be that we need to change from our friends or actually just take a break from those people for a little bit, so then that way you don't stumble or want to smoke as well. It could even just be as simple as going to a specific store that has your favorite brand of cigarettes. If you can start to shop or your grocery shopping at a different store, that might help you to break that habit because they don't have your favorite cigarettes, or at least it makes it more challenging for you to give into that temptation or to stumble upon cigarettes in the first place. So if you can change your surroundings, a lot of times it's going to give you an advantage to really break that habit of smoking. Tip number 6 is that it's going to take time. Now, remember, just like all good things, it's going to take some time to get to where you want to be. There's no magic pill, there's no quick fix. It's going to be something that's going to require energy, it's going to take focus, and it's going to take some time to get you where you want it to be. I know that doesn't sound appealing a lot of times, but it's the truth. And this is the reality that it's going to be, is you're going to have some slip-ups, and that's okay. And it's going to be something that you just have to get back up and try again. The road to success is never linear. It's going to be something that you're going to have a lot of ups, you're going to have a lot of downs, you're going to have a lot of joy, and you're going to have a lot of tears. But when you look back 6 months from now, you look back 12 months from now, you're going to be so happy that you actually stuck to it and that you actually continued to push through all the heartache and all the bad times, because when you look back, you're going to be successful in breaking that bad habit, and you're going to have so much joy that you actually accomplished it as well. And the last tip of breaking a bad habit is asking for help. Never be afraid of asking for help from anyone around you, or even if there's groups online, or even just online services that you can find. Even in person, there's so many different people that are just waiting for you to just reach out to them and seeking help, because they want to help you, they want to see you grow, they want to see you achieve the success that comes from breaking a bad habit such as smoking. So please don't be afraid to ask for help. It's one of the best things that we can oftentimes do in trying to achieve something that we've been struggling with for so long. Addiction is a real thing, and you have to remember, with all these bad habits, a lot of times it just started with one simple action that snowballed into this huge habit that we have today. The same thing comes with breaking those habits. It takes one small action done consistently in breaking that habit, and eventually you're going to look back and you're going to be extremely excited that you actually have achieved the goal of breaking that habit. But it does start with one step at a time. It takes time, but the first step that you have to do, just like we talked in the beginning of this video, is make a commitment. I hope that helped you guys. I really am just so blessed that you guys even took the time to watch this video. Please like the video, subscribe to our channel, watch more videos just like this, but we will see you on the next video. God bless. Peace.